back to Cross Stitch the Globe. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Allison.
This is a channel about cross stitch, and this is the most expensive cross stitch books for 2025.
2020. They were in 2024.
It's 2024 data, but it's for shopping in 2025 information. Yes, it's the middle of March, but like we needed some. We took a few mental health Sundays.
I was gonna say our brain needed a rest for a little while.
We did. We went and did a thrift with me. That was super fun.
Yeah.
Thrift with us, and then we did last 2 weeks ago.
Last week.
Oh,
the week before that.
The week before that. What did we do instead on Sunday? Oh, I did a vintage haul that I was destashing. And I put out a few other videos of like destash parades and stuff. There was another organizing video that went up on Thursday where we organized your fabric stash. Mm-hmm. I put up a video I filmed it yesterday. We're filming this on Sunday. It's going to go live Sunday night. This will go live tomorrow night. So for you guys yesterday, that was like decluttering and organizing my office. And I destashed a bunch of stuff in that. And also like just like alphabetized things. So I feel like organizational stuff. There's been content, but this video was delayed. Mm-hmm. And this is the third in our most expensive series that we like to do annually. So we did patterns, kits, and books last year. And we're doing patterns, kits, and books this year. We've got some ideas for other things that we could do that are like most expensive. If you have any ideas for most expensive, let us know.
We could do like most expensive scissors, but I think we know.
And we could do like, accessories in general.
Oh yeah.
But Almanac is going out of business really takes that.
They're out of business?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Allison's not on social media anymore. So
okay,
yeah, they went out of business. So
now they're gonna be really expensive.
They're gonna be really expensive, but it's not like you can just go buy a $1,200 stand. Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's a way. But anyway, okay, if you are a company, you have very expensive stuff, you want us to make a video about it. We love expensive things. Just send it to us.
It's so fun to be like, oh, you can luxurize everything.
Because Allison's very frugal.
Yeah. Although somebody mentioned that we do say frugal and what we mean is cheap, which is accurate.
No, we mean frugal.
It's accurate.
Well, okay. I'm trying to shop secondhand.
You are being frugal.
And do gifts and stuff. But I'm sorry. So I'm trying to shop secondhand more. So I'm not buying stash. But if somebody sends me a present, I'm not like saying no. So if you want to send me a $1,200 stand to test,
we'll make a video and everything.
We'll totally make a video. Just, it can't be sent back. It can only come this direction. It can't go the other direction. Patterns, we will gladly return.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, so if you haven't checked out our most expensive patterns or most expensive videos, I will link them. Most expensive kits, I will link them below.
If you like this video, you will like those.
And the prices on those,
insane.
Okay, so I think
for my cheap part,
the prices on kits are nutso. The prices on patterns start out way higher than these start kind of in the same place, but you're getting 1 or 2 designs, whereas on this you're getting like maybe 10 or 20 designs.
Yeah.
Or other things. So, okay, so we're gonna start. We're gonna do this just like we did last year. So on the kits and patterns, we did honorable mentions. I'm not gonna do that this year. Last year I said who had been the most expensive the year before, but I'm not because we have a video on it. I'll link to it. You can go watch last year's if you want. But where a book was on the list last year, I will tell you what it was last year and how the prices changed. Okay. But any book that wasn't on last year, that was on last year's list and is not on this year's list, we're not going to probably talk about unless it's in the course of a conversation.
Sure.
Data. This data comes from eBay. So I have looked at all of the cross-stitch book sales for 2024. I'm sure I made errors. Like there's some things you just make a mistake on. I found an error this morning and I had accidentally put the same book in twice and I had to go figure out what number 25 was when I re-racked them all.
Sure.
And then I had to rename all the images. So that can happen, especially when you're talking about books that are like in a foreign language. Until you see the cover, you might not realize that's the same publication, or you might think they're the same thing and they're not. So I can't see sales on Etsy or Thrift Books or Abe Books or private sales. So it is very possible there were book sales that were higher than these. This is also the eBay that I have data that I have access to. I don't believe it includes overseas sales on like German eBay. So this is what we have information about. So we call it the most expensive cross-stitch books for 2025. However, if 1 or 2 is different,
There's a caveat.
It's fine. Yeah. At the end,
specifically what we can look at.
Yeah. At the end, I'm going to do some tips for if you want to find any of these books specifically, because I've noticed the more that I am like selling in my Etsy store vintage patterns, the more I'm destashing, the more I'm finding stuff to thrift and sell, and the more I research for these videos. I'm noticing some things about books that are interesting that I would like to talk about at the end.
Okay, cool.
It may make it a little bit easier to buy some of these for better deals than these.
You want to explain you tell what it is.
Oh, okay.
I freak out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we like to do here, and if you don't enjoy that, that's okay. But we enjoy it, and that's the format these videos will always be in.
Yeah.
Unless we decide something's going to be different.
Yeah.
I will tell Allison the book title. I will show her the picture. I will tell her the price, and I will let her react to the price, and then I will show you guys a picture of the book with the price on it and any information like rank last year. So you have to experience Allison before you experience the book, and that is just across the globe how we like to do things.
It's fun.
It's fun, and it's a little different with books because don't judge a book by its cover. With the book, it's harder to understand what's all in it, whereas a kit or a pattern, it's very easy to be like, oh, well, that's the pattern that costs.
That costs $500.
Yeah. With a book, it's harder to know, but we're going to do it for continuity's sake and because it's fun for me.
Also, for those who do not know, I do not have a great memory, so I will not remember if it was on last year.
And that's part of the fun, too, is that everything from last year is gone.
Yeah.
For her,
it's
for the most part.
Totally gone.
And so we really get to experience this afresh.
If I see the picture and it's the same cover,
maybe
I may or I may not. So
yeah,
we'll
we don't know. All right, so number 25 was on last year's list. Last year was ranked 24.
Okay.
It is called The Proper Stitch: A Guide for Counted Thread Books by Darlene Osteen for The Needle's Prayer.
Okay.
And it looks like this.
I like it. So a guide for counted thread. I wonder if it's a bunch of patterns or like instruction.
I have some information about some of the books. I do not have information about all the books.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be easier to find.
I don't have information about that book right now. I believe last year I had a paragraph about it. And then this year when I went to go make my notes, I didn't know it was going to be on the list because again, I found out this morning that I had made a mistake. So I didn't have time to go back and get the data. But all right, you ready for the price? The entry price on the top 25 books.
So this is the lowest on the list.
The lowest on the list. It was $58 last year.
Oh, wow.
This year it is $69.95, and remember that $69.95.
That is quite expensive. What year is this book?
I don't know.
Okay.
Again, I might be able to find my notes from last year if you want to give me a second.
No. I'll watch the video.
Okay.
It's all the videotape from last year. So.
All right, number 24 was not on our list last year.
Okay.
Cross Stitch Letters Bible. In French, it's Cross Stitch Couture. Please forgive me. It is and the Soul Stitchers, forgive me. Bible de lettres à point de croix by Valerie Lejeune.
Isn't Point de Croix just so cute?
Point de croix.
It is so cute.
I
would rather say that. Anyway, go ahead.
It does make it sound very like fancy.
It's so fancy. Way fancier than Cross Stitch.
So it's by Valerie Lejeune. And it looks like this.
Okay, literally just different styles of writing.
Yeah.
So you can make up your own.
And there's that is a very common like subgenre of cross stitch books are like alphabets and numerals and borders are all like things.
I have seen a lot of books on borders.
This one has 844 alphabets and suites de.
Well, that sounds like a good buy. I don't know how much I understand.
Tome 1. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Probably not.
$69.99.
Ah,
4 cents.
Just beat it out.
4 cents.
That's crazy.
4 cents. All right.
I mean, it would be cool to have all that like different styles to work with, but for like $70, could you just like make it up?
There's a lot more stuff now to make it up.
I've done that before where you just get a piece of canvas and you draw and you just freehand it.
Oh, the cross stitch on it?
Yeah.
You make your own
I make my own stamped cross stitch sometimes because I want it to be me. I want it to be my stuff.
All right, you ready for number 23 was number 20 last year.
Okay.
It is called Nordiska Embroideries by Ondori. It is from Japan.
Oh, pretty. Now, I love Japanese art and culture. Like, it's so beautiful.
This is, and then you'll see this again. This is where there are Nordic designs. It's gorgeous. So this is like a book that is originally from the Nordics. I don't know if this one is Norway or, and it has been like published in Japan.
Do you know, there's a free one that looks like that we showed on one of our free videos.
I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna look through my Google.
Wait, you don't want to pay
because I don't want to pay
$70
because I don't want to pay $70.
It was $70 last year as well. It was number 20, but it was $70 last year.
Wow. So obviously these books at least hold their value if you have them.
No.
Oh, what? We've so far seen.
No.
Oh wow, interesting.
The higher you go, then no.
Oh, okay.
And I don't even know, I can't even tell you specifically what was affected, but there's some drama.
You're like, no.
There's some drama at the top of the list, don't worry.
Okay.
Number 22.
Okay.
Was not on our list last year, but other books by her were. The Best Teresa Wentzler Sampler Collection, Cross Stitch Designs book. Okay, sometimes I just copy the eBay listing and I forgot to change it.
I can totally see that being expensive.
And it looks like this. And the funny thing is both of the designs on the cover are designs I have owned separately from that. Like as like booklets and de-stash both of them.
Yeah. Because that is so intimidating.
Well, at one point I had like I think I've owned 8 total Teresa Wentzler charts.
Sorry.
And every time I look at them, and I've gotten them from in different ways. So I haven't like, I got some in a Facebook marketplace. I got some off of at a thrift store for 25 cents. So I've de-stashed the ones because what had happened was, so like I look at it and I'm like, is that the one? Because I'm going to stitch one Teresa Wentzler. Maybe I don't finish it, but I'm going to start one Teresa Wentzler. I probably will never do a second. So I want it to be the right one, but I also don't want it to be one I won't finish.
Yeah.
So I've settled down and I only have one booklet left. And it actually is not either of these, but so I've de-stashed both of these. It's the one that is the peacock and the Pegasus. I think I want to do the Pegasus.
Oh, that was pretty.
But I kept that one. Everyone else I've sold. But I have sold these two collectively off for probably about half of what the book costs. So if you look at it like that, of like, then it's a good deal if you're going to stitch all of them. Mm-hmm. But if you're buying a Teresa Wentzler book for 1 or 2 designs, it may be cheaper just to go find that pattern because they're the best of. It's a collection of things that were already printed.
But I wonder if that's your jam.
Oh yeah, and
would it be worth?
If you're a collector and you want to just like look through this, yeah. But what I decided is I had to decide what was I allowed to collect and what was I not allowed to collect because I want to collect everything. Yes. So I made a rule for myself. I'm allowed to collect Mirabilia and Nora Corbett's. I'm allowed to collect as many vintage hoops as I want. Though I think I am going to go through and kind of see what I have like too many. Yeah, like too many. But I'm not there yet. Like I decided, okay, I like to hold in the garden, but I'm only allowed to keep them if I'm just going to stitch them. So I de-stash ones I'm not going to. So I have decided like I'm allowed to keep as many Mirabilias as I want, but not duplicates.
There are a lot.
and also people send us sometimes, but everything else, it's either giveaway or de-stash. Mm-hmm. And if it's a gift from someone, then I'm putting it in the giveaway pile because usually people send us stuff to give away, or they say you can keep it or give it away, and I don't want to sell that stuff. Yeah. But then also sometimes I have duplicates of the things, and so one goes in the de-stash and one goes in the giveaways. Anyway, all that is to say, having owned some of the patterns in this book, if you only want one pattern, it's probably cheaper to just go get the one pattern. Right. If you think you're going to stitch a lot of these, then the book is probably cheaper. Yeah. Because the patterns aren't.
How much cheaper?
Okay. So this book is $81.
Quite a bit cheaper.
Not that much.
You got one for you got one pattern for 25 cents.
Yeah, but I found that at a thrift store. I sold it for 20.
Okay, well there would have to be what?
I usually sell Teresa Wentzler's for around $20.
20?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you think you're gonna stitch 1 or 2 designs from a Teresa Wentzler book, I would go look for the pattern. Also, if it's not a samplery fantasy one, there are some on her website that you can download.
Oh.
But and they're like $7 or $8, but it's not usually the ones you want to stitch.
I don't know. I haven't seen them.
But yeah, I think between $20 and $25 every Teresa Wentzler pattern I've destashed for, because that's kind of where the market is. And so if you just like it for that cover image, I would go get just that pattern.
Well, what's her name? X-Stitch Canada. I don't remember.
Fibers and Floss Canada?
Fibers and Floss Canada.
Erica?
Yeah, Erica. Oddly enough, she did all that wonderful video elaborate about sorting and how you prepare for one of these.
Yeah, and maybe you want it.
I was so intimidated. I was like, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all are champions, because that's a lot of prep work.
It looked, well, she's actually doing is she doing the peacock that's in the booklet that I have? And those are supposed to be like easier ones, but they're not.
But it's her whole floss thing was like,
yeah. And I think she has the booklet that I have. I don't think she's doing it out of the book. But and like in these most expensive videos, there's one Flosstube I probably will mention when we get to that book because of a funny thing that happened. But for the most part, we make a rule that like we just don't tag people in these videos because we don't want anybody to be like feel like they're being called out or whatever.
Oh no, I'm not saying she has this.
But I am gonna go ahead and tag Erica's because I want, if you think you're interested in Teresa Wentzler, I want to list that video, but it's very clear. I don't think she owns this book. If she did own this book, there's no shame in owning this. We like nice things. We're just not allowing I like nice things. I'm not allowing myself to have them. Allison doesn't even really like them.
I don't even like them.
But you like when somebody lends it to you.
Well, yeah.
But you don't like it enough to like.
I'm not going to do it on my own.
Anyway, so we're not shaming anyone or judging anyone who owns it.
This is go watch the video.
This is fun for us. It's fun tea. It's fun. It's fun to look at. It's fun to even know. Like also, if you find something in a thrift store, grab it. I pretty much save most cross stitches that I see in a thrift store, but I have like price points where I'm like beyond that I can't, because like if a leaflet is $3, I can't usually. But it's nice to know like, okay, but if it's a memorabilia leaflet that's out of print, maybe So it's just fun to know. Okay, next one is the Sampler Company's Book of Alphabet Motifs and Borders by Brenda Keyes. It was on the list last year too. Last year it was number 17. This year it's 21.
Oh, okay, I was like, I know that name.
This is not. This is not the book, but this is a book by the same author. This is Brenda Keyes' Sampler Motif, so it's very similar. So a lot of times the book that is very expensive, but like it will be very expensive because somebody on Flosstube or somebody on Instagram showed a pattern that you can only get in that book, and then people want to go grab it because they want to do that one thing. But if what you like about cross-stitch books is flipping through them and reading them and like learning about the stuff, which is why I really enjoy buying cross-stitch books and destashing them, because I like reading them and going through them and then hitting a wall where I was like, okay, but I'm not going to stitch from it. So now it's right. So you don't have to start with the person's most expensive book. There are probably very inexpensive books by some of these same people. So like this book, I haven't priced this book, but my guess is this book is $12 or under.
This was a gift from one of our mom's friends.
Do you want to look at the price on that book?
Yeah, let's look
do it. Okay.
Wait, you just take a picture?
I can't because do I not? I don't have Google on here. Oh no, here I'll just look it up. The Sampler Motif book.
Mm-hmm. It's so pretty. That is so pretty. I'm really glad she gave this to us.
Yeah, you can find that on Thrift Books for $8.19.
Cool.
And in different prices, cool. Different places. And yeah, it's really pretty. So I think you should stitch out that book. But anyway, so like you can get, if you just want to look at cross stitch books, you can look at your library, or you can buy inexpensive ones and enjoy them, and then probably destash them for what you paid for them once you've kind of like your time with them is done, or keep them. You don't have to get the most expensive book.
It's a Blackbird one.
Gorgeous.
That is cool. I've never done Blackbird.
I think we did a little flip through of this when you got it.
Oh, we did?
I think so. See, okay. She doesn't remember things.
It's
very fun.
I don't do that.
Okay, so the book that's on our list though is by Brenda Keyes, but it's not that book. It is.
I'm glad it's not that book because I would be tempted to sell it.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh, I can't.
But I'm not holding on to a book that's stuck.
It's the Sampler Company's book of alphabet motifs and borders.
Oh, very cool.
But very similar.
Oh, very, very similar.
So I don't know if there's something in particular. If you know any gossip or any of the if you know any gossip for real or any of the reasons in this book.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So in the video I put out last night I edited it, but it's not out last night, but it's, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. When I went to go de-stash some stuff, I found out that one of the patterns I had like some racist imagery in it, and I told the whole story in that video.
Oh no!
So we like to drop a little tea here and there. So if you have tea, just let us know.
Yeah.
So I didn't sell it because I didn't list it because I was like, ooh. But anyway, I told the story in that video.
Don't put that.
But anyway, if you have any tea or anything about any of these books, please drop it in the comments. Okay, so this book is $85.
What?
Last year was $85, but it was number 17. It dropped 4 spots. It kept the same price.
Oh, that's not good sign. For the rest of the book.
Now, I am going to say there are a series of 4 books. There may be 5 or 6 books that last year I didn't count as books, but now with one more year of like being in the cross-stitch world, I decided, you know what, like they need to be on this list because they wouldn't be on a patterns list and they wouldn't be on a kids list. So this list is kind of like books, but some of them might be more on the like booklet-y side. But if they have like a lot of patterns, if they have like more than 5 patterns and they don't show up on the patterns list, but they still show up, then I'm like keeping them here. Yeah. Whereas like before I might've been like, well, that's not a traditional book.
Yeah.
It doesn't have an IBSN number. And I think I just have like kind of expanded.
But the point is to find what people are
buying. Yeah. Well, yeah. So some of the spot drops might not be because of price adjustments in the market. It might just be that I decided to expand what my definition of the market is, because there were just a few items where I'm like, if I don't put it on this list and it's on no list, and that makes no sense to not see that thing that's costing $200 to be on one of these.
Makes sense.
Okay, number 20, Heirloom Christmas Stocking and Cross Stitch by Heirloom Christmas Stockings and Cross Stitch by Better Homes and Gardens. And it was not on, it's the book that came out in 1995. I think I might have had this in my D-stash, but it isn't. I priced everything in my D-stash, so if I did have it in my D-stash, it was not this price. But I want to see. Oh, I have no way to look it up now. Okay, anyway, if I did, I looked at the price on every item so I wouldn't accidentally like miss something. So if I did have it in my D-stash and sold it for $12, it wasn't this price anymore.
Yeah.
But if I didn't, because I had some of these books, but I don't know exactly what years. And last year, different years were on the list than this year. So anyway, so last year this was not on the list. It looks like this. The picture on this is terrible.
Oh.
No, I did not have this one.
I can't even see what it is.
I didn't have this one. It's just a stocking.
I love stockings.
I gotta find a better picture to show you guys. But yeah, it's one of those hard.
Just the.
Yeah, I don't have it. Because I wouldn't have de-stashed the raggedy end. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this year it went for $86. Okay. This year went for $86, and another one also sold for $79. So it's serious.
Can you imagine your stocking costs $85 before you started stitching it for 2 million
some
hours?
of the kits cost that much.
Not the ones I'm buying.
Well, I mean, an in-print Dimensions Gold kit, depending on which one it is, even in print can be like $50 or $60.
I did not know that. Those Dimension kits are that expensive?
Some of them, yeah.
Okay.
Not all of them. I mean, some of them are in the 30s or 40s, and if you watch them, you can sometimes get a deal. Okay. But
that is more than I thought.
Also, like needlepoint. If you want to go get like a real, like if you want to go get like a needlepoint stocking,
yeah,
like the painted ones, it's like $200.
Dude, because you went to a store where they paint them themselves.
Yeah, not the kits. Yeah,
the kits are they're machine stamped and they're terrible. So they cost $5 because that's what.
Actually, so one of the things I showed yesterday in my video that I have to list tonight before that video goes live is a needlepoint stocking, kit that was like, so I'll look it up tonight and see what it was.
Yeah.
All right. So number 19, Alphabets with Personality by Mary Engelbright for Leisure Arts. But it is not a numbered Leisure Arts booklet. It is like a, it does have a booklet look to me, but it doesn't have the like Leisure Arts number whatever at the top. It's a, and the alphabet letters, I didn't get the pictures, but it's like the M has a little mermaid in it. It's very, and they're very like cutesy 90s. So if you've been like that style, I'll show a couple examples of like letters to Nora and stuff, but you want something more like 90s because the 90s are back.
I know.
This is really cute.
It's bringing back childhood trauma.
So I was thrifting the other day, and it's in my video on my thrifting channel that I saw like a Mary Engelbright mug. I didn't pick it up. I kind of wish I would have. It was only like $1.
You can still get one from Mom's house.
Yeah, well, our mother has a lot, and I'm stitching a Mary Engelbright already, and so I destashed. I had a 4 Seasons. Yeah, I sold it already. Mary Engelbright 4 Seasons book that I thrifted, that I destashed, and it is on its way to its final destination because I was like, it's so cute, but like I'm stitching this other one. But I love when I find Mary Engelbright cross stitch, and if I find this book, I'll probably stitch out of it before I pass it on. So send it on the air that I find this book. You can buy a lot of Mary Engelbright patterns off Imaginating and actually download them. A lot of them are in print through Imaginating. It's just that some of her stuff is out of print, and some of the stuff she's done also, different companies have licensed her work. So this is Leisure Arts. Imaginating has some of her stuff. So if you just like her style, you do not need to run out and get this book.
Yeah.
But this book looks really good. Yeah. Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay. It is $90.
Really?
Alsa's like, I'm just not a Mary Engelbright person. I'm a Mary Engelbright person, but I wasn't.
I like they're very cute, but they would not fit in my
I wasn't
vibe.
in the 90s and the aughts. I'm back to it now as a nostalgia.
I'm not. I'm not there.
Whereas like I was full of My Little Ponies in the when they were, but now I'm not back into them.
Okay.
It just depends.
It depends on how many your daughter gets or your son.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. They can get them.
Okay.
They can get them, and I'll be happy. But like right now, my son is very into sharks and dinosaurs and planets, and so my daughter's very into sharks, dinosaurs, and planets.
Obviously. And
also donuts. Allison got them some toys yesterday, and she got my daughter like this thing that was like
it's a pillow.
It's a pillow.
It's a pillow, but it's filled with stuffed toys that are like donuts. So you put the donuts in the pillow and
my daughter just walks around the house going, candy, cupcakes, all the time. She's got
I knew that would be a hit.
She's got such a sweet tooth, so she loves it.
I knew that would be a hit.
All right. This next one I thought was very interesting. Do-It-Yourself Stitch People, 2nd edition, cross-stitch family portraits book. It is by Elizabeth Debzinski Bean. I know I mispronounced that, but she's a creator of Stitch People. You know those patterns that are like the little Stitch People where you can, anyway, you'll recognize it when you see it. So she does like real patterns, but this book helps you make your own family in cross stitch.
I have seen this before. I didn't know that's what they're called.
So, I get it confused with Stitch Folk sometimes, but Stitch Folk is a cross stitch bag maker.
I have heard that.
But Stitch Folk is a bag maker, but in my head I'm like, because that's more like Stitch Folk art, but it's Stitch Folk, not like Stitch little folks of people. This is Stitch People.
This is Stitch People.
But
well, they're very cute.
Yeah, so this was thousands of combinations for customizable cross-stitch character designs. Includes patterns, step-by-step instructions. So this is a book where it's a bunch of patterns, but the idea is that you create the people. Like if you want to stitch your family portrait, you could use all the different things in this book to create the portrait. It's really a good idea.
Like making your own paper doll, but you do it through. That's cool.
And I know Stitch People sells patterns, and I follow them on Instagram. I don't know a ton about them. Like I haven't like gone and looked at their patterns, but I know their work is like I know they have a ton of stuff in print. Yeah. But this book is out of print in the 2nd edition, and it was. Are you ready?
No.
$96.
But you know what? Those people are everywhere. Go on Etsy for 5 minutes. Cross stitch patterns. They're everywhere. You can, and I think a lot of people have copied her style. And absolutely,
stuff. Yeah. But if you want to make your family in cross stitch, that's the.
And if you have an extra 90, would you say $96?
$96. And this was not on the list last year. All right. Number 17 was on the list last year. It was number 11 last year. It is 101 Best Loved Designs from Cross Stitch and Country Crafts by Better Home Gardens. Very popular, very, like, I've seen Lala D Stitches stitch out of it. I've seen, this is one of those books that, like, people will snag for good deals a lot. So it's out there. But if you just, like, want it tomorrow, you're going to pay for it. Probably. Mm-hmm. Probably. You've seen this book before, too, but I don't know if you'll remember it.
Okay. No, I do not remember.
But it has that Santa with the list, and it has the Amish triptych, the 3 Amish pieces. Jen, Caffeinated Crafter, is stitching. She got hers on D-Stash for not very much money. She tells that story in her Flosstube. Mm-hmm. I'm not tagging these people because I don't want them to be like, oh God, what? But we like all their channels and go watch them all. But she's stitching the Spanish sampler from this book. Okay. There's like a lot of like very famous patterns because it's harder to, if you know what.
Is that a chocolate Valentine box? Oh, that's adorable.
Okay, so if you know what issue the pattern you like from is in 101, it is from the magazine Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. It's cheaper to just go buy that magazine. But if you don't know what magazine it is, it's harder. Because I sell Cross Stitch and Country Craft magazines because I find them in thrift stores all the time.
We've been gifted some. I think she might Crafter or something like that. Yeah, she was really nice.
But it's hard to know like what issue you're looking at.
Yeah, but it's fun just having the option.
I love going through the magazines.
It's so fun.
I go through the magazines and then I'm like, okay, but am I really? But I love reading the magazines.
It's really fun to see them all.
I love getting them and then I de-stash them when I'm like enjoyed them. But yeah, this book is very famous. It is a book that I would really like a copy of. Like if I found this in a thrift store, I would not de-stash it. Well, maybe for $98 I would.
Ooh. I almost said I'd go halves. No,
it was number 11 last year, but it was also $98 last year. Yeah. I also saw it sell for $94.
Oh, that's not another discount.
And last year, I know some people who said they found it for $80. Like, it's out there for less. If you know it and you want it and you're willing to wait for it, you can find a better deal.
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh my God, I just saw that pattern and I like have to start it.
Yeah.
That's harder.
Stephanie has, I said I was in the video too. The eBay one. Well, basically, you taught me how to do eBay.
Yeah.
But it really helps.
Well,
if
so
you're looking for something.
I'm going to start selling on eBay, not cross-stitch stuff, but like other stuff. Because I'm opening a vintage resale store on Etsy whenever my freaking driver's license gets here because they have to check your ID. They didn't used to check your ID before you started out. So anyway, and I have the Etsy cross-stitch shop and I have all my Etsy, like all the vintage patterns and books and stuff that I'm de-stashing are on the Etsy store. Mm-hmm. But I want to declutter all of me and my kids' clothes, and I can't put those on Etsy. They're not vintage. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put them on eBay. So what I was thinking is after I get good at that, so maybe like 6 months or whatever, when I've like got like a bunch of sales or however long it takes. If it takes longer, that's fine. Whenever I have like a certain number of sales, then I can come back and do a video about like selling cross-stitch on eBay. Because even though I won't have sold cross-stitch on eBay, I will have sold a ton of cross-stitch and sold on eBay, so I can at least
make sense.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Okay, so number 16, Joyeux Noel by Blackbird Designs. This went out of print in 2009, but some designs have been reprinted in other books. Yeah, but not all of them. So it's one of those things where you got to know, is the design that you want that was in this book still in this book, or has it been reprinted? And also with Blackbird, it always can be reprinted.
We've seen people get burned.
Now this is one where last year wasn't on the list, but it might have not been on the list because I might have been like, that's more a booklet. But I wouldn't have put this on the patterns list for Blackbird Designs. So I think here, and with the number of designs in it and stuff, it's just, with Blackbirds it's hard because some are patterns and some are books, but some kind of are in that in-between gray area. But I just decided we're going to do it.
It needed to be shown.
And it has one design on the back cover, so I left the back cover in the picture because I recognize this design, but this might have been one of the ones that's been reprinted.
Yeah. I don't know if they paid money from this book, but Floss Boston Cousins.
I think, well, they're very good at getting their hands on out of print stuff. So I don't know. But I wonder if this is the reprinted.
Could be.
So that's the cover.
That's very pretty.
And I really like it, but I also don't fully understand a sampler that looks just like a regular sampler, but happens to say Merry Christmas and have like one holly border. Yeah. They just do that to any other samplers.
Is it a reproduction?
I don't.
It says 1906.
Maybe. I don't know. All right, you ready for the price?
Nope.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
$99.
That's ridiculous.
There was a copy that sold for $78.
So again, you have to just check it out. And
also, like, really think about, is the design that you're wanting one of the reprinted ones? Because that would scare me.
Yeah.
Blackbird, that scares me.
Yeah.
Designs with needle and thread by Blackbird Designs is number 15. So again, all the same caveats about Blackbirds can go back in print, and also 1 or 2 patterns from a book can go back in print. New cross-stitch designs to inspire creativity. I don't know anything about this book.
Okay, the cover doesn't have any clues either.
No, it's like, this might be one of their older ones. So there's a website called Gary's Farmstead. It has tons of great info about Blackbird Designs, but I don't know why I didn't get the notes on this one for that. Maybe it wasn't up.
Yeah.
But it was $102. If you want to gamble and find out what's in it.
Just to find out what's in it? No.
Okay, next one, back to Teresa Wentzler, Best of Teresa Wentzler Christmas Collection. So Teresa Wentzler had a religious, I don't want to overstate what I know because I don't know it from, like, I only know it through the Flosstube
secondhand
grapevine. So what I understand from watching Flosstube is that at some point Teresa Wentzler decided, based on religious conviction, that she did not want her fantasy stuff out there in the public anymore, which is why some of her stuff is on her website, but is not the dragon stuff that most people want from her. I don't know if the Christmas stuff is on her website or not, but it doesn't, I don't know why most of it would fall under that like umbrella. Mm-hmm. But also some of her other stuff is out of print just because she's been designing since like the 80s. So some of it's just out of print. So this is her best Christmas designs. I freaking love that wreath.
Oh, that is beautiful.
That wreath is gorgeous. Oh, anyway, I don't need any more angels. I got a lot of angel patterns.
They're very popular.
Well, I do stash a lot of angels, but they're not as popular as everything else. So I like, actually, no, I would say like, I probably have proportionally the same amount of angels left, but the Victorian houses that I destashed, I only have like 4 of those left. Those are like,
you had like 1 million. So many.
So I bought off Facebook Marketplace this destash of someone who was getting like, who they love cross stitch, but they had inherited the estates of like 3 different people. And so one of the people in that they inherited from loved Victorian houses, and one person loved angels, and then the other person was kind of like normal. Like, and so
say it like that.
Okay. Like a mixture of things.
There you go.
And then she also destashed some of her own personal stuff to me, and like it was like 300 patterns.
Yeah.
But the amount of angels and Victorian houses was so crazy. So many. But people loved the Victorian houses. Yeah. That's great. And somebody was like, "This was my unicorn. I've been looking for that
wonderful.
one." There's a few left on my Etsy shop right now, but not compared to what I started out with.
That's crazy.
There are still, I think there's more angels, but not as many as you think. Like people are also finding angels that they love.
Like, not that I wouldn't stitch one of those houses because they were all beautiful. But did you need every style of house that they make?
Well, this person did. But now it's cool because now it's like they've gone to probably 30 different people.
Yeah.
You know? Because like,
everybody's sharing the joy.
Between Etsy and Instagram, I destashed like 130 orders. And probably 25% of those people bought Victorian houses. So it's like 30 people across the country get to stitch these houses instead of them being like
all in your
But
house.
also, you know, some people, like, I know if there was one that was Guthrie, because, like, this town I live in has tons of Victorian houses, I would have kept it because I would have stitched it.
Yeah.
So some people, it's like, oh, this house is from Oregon and now that's going to Oregon. Or this is a Nebraska house going to Nebraska. That totally is, like,
makes sense. Yeah.
Feels right.
That's good.
Okay.
That's
That was Best of Teresa Wentzler Christmas collection, $106. Last year it was number 15, so it was only one spot lower, but it was $89.
That's quite a bump.
Yeah. All right, next one is also Christmas. It's Christmas Tapestry and Cross Stitch by Inga Palmgren. Also appeared on our list last year, but last year was number 6. And you'll remember this. This is the Swedish artist and department store designer. They put out these calendars and then they were published in Japan as like collections. Because again, the Japanese like Nordic and Scandinavian art and design. And in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s would get things and reprint them there.
That's very cool.
So what you're buying is a Japanese import of Swedish. Style. This is Swedish specifically because she worked in Malmo, and I've been to Malmo, Sweden, but I didn't know about her at the time, obviously, because it was like 10 years ago. It was like 11 years ago. But her work is on display in the Malmo Museum of Art, which I didn't go to because I was like there for like a work trip.
Yeah.
And but now if I were to go back, I would be like, oh, I gotta go hit up the Malmo Museum to see my Inga Palmgren art.
It is very pretty.
I really like these books. If I ever found them, I would totally stitch out of them and not destash them. But they are consistently expensive. So this one, okay, number 13, it was $112. Now it did sell for that a couple of times. It was $123 last year. So it did go down a little bit, but not a lot.
But probably just for
fluke, yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. Now the Inga Palmgren stuff goes for sale a lot. So it's not one of those where you have to like snatch it the moment you see it, because it goes up for sale.
Yeah.
There's like usually a few of them for sale at a time. Now I got this data a month ago because again we were supposed to film this a month ago. So I don't know if the ones that were all up last time sold, but consistently there are usually a few.
That is a lot of money. And we also don't know how many
The
patterns.
books kind of crawl slowly from 70 and now we're at like the 120s, but it's kind of like a slow crawl. And then they kind of jump at the end.
Oh, good. Wonderful.
But like per pattern, per hour, if you stitched everything in these books, not expensive. It's only that like...
That's, true of most people, but people with 75 whips, that's hard to justify.
I'm not buying these for these prices. Okay. But if I found an Inga Palmgren book thrifting and it was like inexpensive, I probably wouldn't sell it for the profit. I would probably keep the object and enjoy it and stitch out of it. I need a Diet Coke break.
Okay.
Number 12, A Stitcher's Journey by Blackbird Designs was on our last year. And this is where I decided that I was being too strict about the stuff, because I was basically like, I know what the patterns look like. If it's a Blackbird or there's another person on here that we haven't gotten to yet. If their stuff didn't make the most expensive patterns list and it's on this list, but it's multiple patterns, I'm just doing it. Mm-hmm. Because this was on this list last year, but this was more of a traditional book. But, okay. But it, like, with Blackbird Designs, it's whatever they wanted to do whenever they wanted to do it, because they're the queens, right? So it's A Stitcher's Journey. And to me, this looked more like a traditional book, I think, than a booklet, but it's Samplers, Sewing Boxes, Pincushions, and More by Barb Adams and Alma Allen. And it's gorgeous.
It does make me think of fancy, like cross-stitch in peace while you're drinking tea.
Yeah, no, their stuff is
very calming. Yeah.
I love stitching Blackbirds until I get to a fiddly part. But I have 2 on the go in the Beetle series, and I'm not starting any of the other Blackbirds. No, I have 3 on the go because I also am stitching the Halloween one.
Which one?
The Wicked Witches.
Fly Away Night, something like that.
Yeah, that one. Fly Away Night, something.
Yeah. Away We Ride.
Away We Ride. You know what?
We did that last time, too.
In my head, I have it blocked. But it's funny because I'm stitching like 3 of the most popular Beetles, or Blackbird patterns.
Ones, yeah.
But they're all popular, so.
Yeah. I love Away We Ride.
All right, so you ready?
Yeah.
Away We Ride. You would, if we'd done this video in like 16, I think, it would have been on the list. It only got reprinted a few years ago. And that's why everyone's stitching it now, because it was out of print.
It might get it, yeah. So don't destash that until I printed it. Or I printed it.
Until I stitched
it, yeah.
All right, so this book was 76 last year. It was number 18 on our list last year. Now it's number 12, and it's $116.
Oh my God.
So it jumped up 40. Whew. Whew.
That's inflation for you, people. No.
All right, here starts a series of books that will pop up a few times that I know I left off the list last year, and this year I decided this is a mistake.
Okay.
So it's the Goode Huswife's Book of Designs, Volume 4. And I think last year I chose to leave them off because they look more homemade.
Oh, they do. They're
than
very...
like traditionally published.
Yeah.
But she closed up her Etsy shop in 2020. They're very out of print. They get very expensive, and they are 10 designs. So I was being bindinist against them, and I've decided no.
That is freaking gorgeous.
It's so cool.
That
right?
is beautiful.
I have 2 Good Housewife patterns. I have one up for D-stash, and then I'm keeping the other one, but I might lend it to I'm probably gonna lend. I told somebody I wanted to lend it to them, then I never sent it. So I gotta see if they still want it before I mail it. But anyway, so
yeah, that's cool.
It's cool, and that's volume.
That's really
and
cool.
pay attention because that's volume 4.
Oh,
so this is a thing we did not talk about last year. $138.
But why? There's no binding.
But also, like, they used to have an Etsy shop. Like, why can't they just come back for a few?
No kidding. I could print that book for like less than $20.
Just come back. I think what Colorado Cross Stitcher is doing with Birds of a Feather, I think some of these other out of print people should really be like, oh, well, you want to do that? You know, because like Hoffman has Prairie Schooler. There's and Lizzie K, or 123 Stitch has Lizzie K. There's a lot of times where the person goes out of business, but they sell all their stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, just take one big payday.
Colorado Cross Stitcher now has some rights, right?
Birds of a Feather.
Birds of a Feather, yeah.
Take one big payday and let one of these people who wants to do it keep the art alive, guys.
I'm all for it.
All right,
All right, well, that's really pretty. And if I ever had an extra, you know, I won the lottery or something.
If I found it in a thrift store, you want me to let you stitch it?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, if you want to lend it to her.
But not right now. I have too much.
No.
I have too many things.
We had a very, very nice friends who are lending us some very specific things we need to finish. And also I need to finish okay. So we're being facetious. Number 10. We're in the top 10. Christmas Calendar in Cross Stitch by Inga Palmgren. So this is the other Inga Palmgren book. There are 2. This is the other one. And so there's one that's red and there's one that's white. They are both Japanese. They are both the same Japanese company getting the artwork, cross-stitch designs that Inga Palmgren's company that she worked at put out at Christmas and publishing them as collections. I don't believe there's crossover in the patterns, but I don't 100% know. But isn't that pretty?
It's pretty. It's not my style. But
you're not
I am a red and all monochromatic.
Do you like do you like Scandinavian style?
Yeah, well, for the most part. I mean, I don't have anything against angels, but I just don't know where
it just happens to be an angel.
Yeah, I don't know where
I'm sure that most of the designs in it are not angels.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
There's some good blog posts that I linked to in last year's video, so I'm not going to link to them again. But if you want to read some blog posts about these books, there's a woman who had a blog post about finding them and being like her holy grail unicorn. Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
$141. Now, last year, guess what it sold for? $141. Last year was number 5. This year's number 10.
Wow.
But again, I included a few extra things, so that kind of changed this data. However, last year it also sold for $97, $84, and $77. Okay. So the Inga Palmgrens are out there. If you can just put up an eBay alert and look some different places, they're out there, and you can. I mean, 77 is still expensive, but it would still be on the list if it was 77, but it's not 140, it's almost half. All right, number 9.
Okay.
This is the one I have the most connection to on this list. It is A Schoolgirl's Work by Adams and Allen. Is it this one? Let me just double check. Yeah. Okay, it's this one. A Schoolgirl's Work by Adams and Allen, Blackbird Designs, but it's literally under their names, not the design company. Sampler book of historical cross stitch. And it is based on samplers from the Spencer Museum of Art. I know I said the exact same thing last year, but you don't remember. Do you know what the Spencer Museum of Art is?
No.
It is the art museum on the campus of the University of Kansas.
Oh, is it?
Rock Chalk.
That's awesome.
We live in Oklahoma. Allison went to OU, but I went to the University of Kansas.
I technically went to the University of Kansas for one summer.
And so Allison and I lived 2 blocks together from where this art museum is. Did I go in and look at the samplers? I did not.
18. I was not going to do that.
I was not looking at samplers. However, and I said this last year too, and then have not been back up there since then, but KU is a place I go every couple years, and our other sister lives in Kansas City. So I know I will get to go walk and see these samplers.
Yeah.
And, ooh, we should go to all the thrift stores in Lawrence and see if there's any like Blackbirds hanging around from and in Kansas City and stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because Blackbird Designs is based in Kansas City. But anyway, I want to go. So I may never get to see this book, but we can go to the Spencer Museum of Art.
That's very cool. That is very cool.
For a lot less than.
I used to live in a house that was like, I thought it might be condemned.
It's not. You know what I was
Eventually.
thinking? You know what I wanted to do actually?
What?
So I was thinking I would love to know how much those apartments go for now, but I would love to see if there's like any website online if they show like them being renovated or if they're literally just like
the same. The kitchen was orange, bright
orange and blue.
And bright blue.
Yeah. And what we used to make fried rice in it because that's what we could afford.
We could afford the rice and we could afford mustard. So the yellow mustard to the rice. Good days. Remember how poor we were?
McCormick's vodka.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, it was the best of times. Allison, here's some tea. Allison, I barely drink ever, and you don't really drink at all.
I don't drink
either.
anymore. Yeah.
Do you never drink alcohol?
Like I never do.
I drink it like once a month because I'm 40, and it just doesn't hit the same when you're 40. And probably about 28, I like kind of started slowing. But I'll still do like wine tours and stuff. I'm not sober, but like I just it
gives me a headache.
It takes me out. So I look back fondly at these days because I'm like, how did this person okay, so we would get a handle of McCormick's vodka.
Yeah.
And then Allison would just drink it with ice. And one time I picked it up thinking it was ice water, and it was just vodka with ice.
I was cheap. Well, at that time, it wasn't cheap. We just couldn't afford it.
No, it wasn't. It was like $20 for a handle of vodka. But it was like a handle of vodka. If you don't know, a handle of vodka is like this.
Quite large.
It's like this big. It's literally like I think it's like.
Is it a gallon?
A gallon maybe, or 2 liters.
Maybe 2
it's
liters,
a lot.
yeah.
And it was like the bottom shelf vodka. The kind that like almost could be like turpentine. But like, and we drank so much of it that I never again in my life wanted it to drink vodka. I don't drink vodka to this day.
I don't drink vodka.
I can drink it in things, but I never, like, that makes me gag.
I can't take a single shot. I will throw my guts up if I even tried to take a shot. Of anything.
I'm trying to think if I can take shots of Rakia. That's probably the last thing I took a shot of.
Even that was too much for me.
I can do
it.
So Rakia is a brandy that is in the Balkans, Bulgaria, Serbia, and I can drink that, a little bit of it, but I can take shots of that.
I took sips when you were like showing it, but even that, there's no way I could.
And it's a fruit brandy. It's not it's kind of equivalent to. I do like it. I wish they sold it here. They don't. They sell. So that Rakia was stuff we brought from Bulgaria when we moved back. But they sell Slivovitz. This is a twist. They sell Slivovitz.
In case you wanted to know.
Which is the Slovenian version of Rakia. It's a fruit brandy. It's basically the same thing, but they don't want to tell you. They don't. I'm sure. Like, don't comment. Comment whenever you want. But it's kind of like when you tell a Greek person that you like Turkish baklava, like, and they get really mad because they're like, it's from Greece. But it's like, but I ate this one in Istanbul. Like, it's like that. Like, they'll get really mad, but they're basically the same thing. Okay. So you can buy Slivovitz in the liquor stores here in Oklahoma. And so we occasionally, when my husband and I were still together, we would do that like once a year.
Yeah.
And that was fun. So that's probably, but never vodka again. All right. Next book.
What were we talking about?
Because we started talking about college.
Oh God, okay.
That's what we were doing instead of going and buying Blackbird design.
That's what we were doing.
We should have been going and buying original Blackbird design booklets.
We should have done that.
From that, because this was 2002 to 2006.
I definitely didn't spend my time wisely.
But
I was never arrested, and that's the point.
I was, but it was a driving thing. It wasn't alcohol related.
I was thrown out of some clubs, but not arrested.
I was arrested by that county, but I got pulled over when I was speeding, and they didn't write me a speeding ticket. They wrote me a failure to show proof of insurance ticket. And I had proof of insurance, and then I called them to say, like, I can't come down on my court date. Can I just come down and show you, like, on any other time? And they said, we don't have record of you. And I was like, oh, that nice cop with adult braces just deleted my ticket. But it was the county and not the city, and I was like dumb. I had no idea. So they showed up in a sheriff's car at my house, senior year of college, to bring me down. I had to put in like $200, and then I went to the court date. Mark Wine picked me up. We went to Chipotle. I had to go to the court date. They gave me my money back like within a week, and like it was so stupid.
That's crazy.
So anyway,
back to cross stitch.
As long as this book is on this list, every year there will be some
story.
We'll have some story about our time where we lived 2 blocks from the museum where all those samplers are. I never once saw them. I did go in the museum, but I don't remember seeing any samplers.
I don't think I probably went to the museum.
I did, because I know for sure I went, but I didn't
I was not making good choices at the time.
We were having too much fun talking about college to remember to discuss the price, but it was $158 this year, and that's up from last year. All right, number 8, also by Blackbird Designs. This one's more common, I think. People will feel like this one is more common. Tokens of Friendship. This is more like your traditional, like, pattern book. I don't know if the Schoolgirls work as patterns or if it's just information, but this is, I mean, I've seen people stitch out of this.
It doesn't look familiar, but
are you ready?
I believe you. Yep.
$159. I also saw that it sold for $146, $112, and $80. So it's out there if you want to hold.
But not for less than $80.
But still would make the list, yeah. But not less than $80. All right, number 9, The Needlework Collection 2 by Micheal and Elizabeth Feller. This was number 7 this year. It was number 3 last year, but the price didn't change. And this is a it does have some patterns in the back, but it is really like a photographs and like information about their like private sampler collection.
Oh,
because they have a very good
that would
collection.
be interesting.
I don't know if their collection is still in their hands or if it's been moved to like Whitney Antiques or something, because like I don't know how old this book is, but it does have. And look at the one on the cover is like really pretty.
Yeah, I feel like though whatever price you're about to tell me, it should be free in a library.
Some of these
it's educational.
Some of these, if you belong to the like American Needlework Guild or Embroideries Guild or something, which I've looked into joining, but I don't have free time. I don't have childless free time, and I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be anyway. But one day I would like to join.
Sure.
They have like a private library, and some of these books are in their private library for you to like check out. But I don't know anything about like.
Well.
Okay, so you ready?
Yeah.
The price didn't change, but it dropped 4 spots. But it was $179.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Someone's fancy.
Okay. Number 6.
It's like a textbook. Like.
Yeah, it has patterns in it though. So if you want to stitch from it, I don't know what's causing the price.
Okay.
Number 6 is The Best of Teresa Wentzler Fantasy Volume 2. Volume 2 was on last year's list at number 8. It's number 6 this year. The price went up significantly.
Oh, did it?
And
very fun.
This pattern at the top is another one that I destashed.
Yeah, I've seen that one a lot.
I think I destashed this.
I haven't seen this one before.
Or is that the one that I kept and I destashed? I don't know. I either destashed it or I have it in my collection, but I don't have this book.
It's kind of surprising that, because the number one was way...
Yeah, and it wasn't even on the list last year. I think this is my favorite dragon of hers, though.
It's very cool.
But I don't know what pattern is, if there's a pattern driving the price up or if it's... But you ready?
What?
Last year was $108.
Okay.
This year it's $180.
Well, go Teresa Wentzler.
Well, she doesn't make any money off of it.
And I still maintain that even if people are buying them secondhand, it's still publicity and goodwill for the artist.
If you were still making money off your designs, like let's use Mirabelle as an example. Many Mirabelle patterns are on the out of print list. However, the fear that her newer stuff that is still in print might go out of print does keep people buying and collecting her newer stuff. Teresa Wentzler, I don't know if that's the case because I don't know if she's still...
Well, I guess the difference would be she's not doing that kind of work anymore, so that's rare. So I guess she wouldn't get the publicity for that. Unless you were just a fan of Teresa Wentzler and all of her stuff.
I'm not saying Teresa Wentzler did this. What I'm saying is, what if you were a designer and you decided, and people loved your work, and you just decided to take it all off the market, but then you had a box of it in your garage, and you made a fake account on eBay, and you're like, you know what, I'm not selling 10 for $10, I'm selling one of these for $100, and you just slowly...
I don't know about the ethics of that.
No, it's not ethical.
That was just like, ooh.
But I don't know if it's illegal.
But it's like cringy.
Yeah, it's cringy. Yeah. I'm not accusing anyone of doing this. Yeah. I'm just saying, what if?
What if that would suck?
I'm
recently learning that ethics are not important to most people. Like, I took so many ethics classes in both undergrad and grad school that it's like second nature. Is this the right thing to do? Think about it before you do it. I run into adult humans all the time who have no concept that this could be a bad thing to do, but it'll benefit me, so whatever.
Yeah.
Why? When did that happen? I was tricked. I was tricked into thinking everybody was responsible.
The world has always been like that. It's disheartening to see it, to see that to see how close the line is for some people to be brazen and open about it. But yeah, you don't live in a capitalist society and think people are like good-hearted at like by nature. Like it's all like, kids are good-hearted by nature, but they get socialized by people who are not. But you also have a level of ethics that you kind of maintain, I will say, to a point where it is to your detriment a little bit because you are so concerned about it. And as a social welfare background and like working nonprofits, that's really good. But and
I would argue it would be good no matter what my profession would be.
Yes, but that's kind of why you were drawn to that profession in the first place.
Yeah.
But there are situations where like you won't do something if it hurts somebody else, but if the person it hurts if the person it's hurting is like a giant mega corporation, you still won't do it. Even though I would be more like, okay, well, if it hurts a small business, I would never. But if it hurts Amazon, I'm gonna do it. Like that. That's kind of
even if it's the wrong.
Yeah, if it hurts,
to do.
Yeah, if it's kind of more F the man.
Yeah. Do
it. If it's hurting a small business, I wouldn't do it. Whereas you just would not because of the operating principle. Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, I'm not suggesting anyone is running.
I know, but the fact that people think those things, like, what if? I'm like, why? How? Yeah. That's a terrible idea.
Well, no, don't do it. I'm not advocating anyone do it. But
okay, don't do it.
All right, number 5. The Good Housewife's Book of Designs. And I don't know if it's good. I don't know how they pronounce it. So, like, because, like, when you look at, like, old stuff from, like, old Massachusetts, good with an E was pronounced, like, goody. But I don't know and Huswife. But I don't know if it's pronounced The Good Housewife or Goody Huswife.
Oh, if anyone knows.
I don't know. Yeah, because it's not, like, been out of print that long. Yeah. But anyway, The Good Housewife's Book of Designs, 10 Patterns, Volume 2. And we don't know what the patterns inside look like.
I don't know, but that's
the covers on these books are
that is so good.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's worth. I don't.
All right, you're not gonna.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did not have this on the list last year. Again, I was being binderist.
Okay.
$203.
That's insane.
But I don't think these weren't on the list last year because the prices changed so much. I just think I was like, that's not a book. It's held together with binder clips.
Yeah.
But no, they're books. I've changed my mind.
So it would have to hold.
It has 10 patterns.
Okay, that's way not enough for that price. No.
All right, oh wait, we probably need to talk for an extra minute or two.
Okay, so no, I'm a no. What about you?
I don't even know what they look like, but there's
Well, okay, based on the cover, now we've seen 2 covers that are both really good. I do have a feeling that it's probably high quality.
Also, I wonder if the nature of the binder means that not that many were printed and they are maybe more fragile.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're just like very hard to.
Maybe.
Like, I don't have any idea what the market is like, but okay. Number 4, a schoolroom alphabet cross-stitch book. A schoolroom alphabet cross-stitch book projects based on a schoolroom alphabet. Cross-stitch book projects based on an antique handkerchief. It was number 5 last year. It's number 4 this year. The price jumped up significantly. And this has 12 projects in
it. Okay.
You're not ready. You're not ready.
I can already tell you I would not.
$214.
Really? Wow.
It also sold for $91. Still would make the list. $160 is what it sold for last year.
That's crazy. It had quite a jump.
Okay, this next one is the one I'm the second most excited about.
Okay.
It's Bucovina folk embroidery patterns. Bucovina is a region of Romania and Ukraine.
Oh, okay.
So you've heard of Transylvania.
Yeah.
So there's 3 regions in Romania. There's Transylvania, Wallachia, which is where Bucharest, the capital, is. And then Transylvania is the part of Romania that's like north and east. So it's north, it's like, I run a website about the Balkans, which includes Romania. So in my head, everyone knows the map of Romania.
Well,
but
let's tell you,
that's not normal.
I had my first grant tour where we show the grant person everything. And almost the first thing she said was, I worked in the Balkans for so long I ran a nonprofit there. And I was like, really? we need to talk.
So Bucovina, here's Romania. Bucovina is over here. And then here's Moldova. And then here's Ukraine. So it is northeastern Romania and northwestern Ukraine. And then a little bit of Moldova. Sometimes it's also, parts of this are also called Moldavia, and then that's where the name Moldova came from. So this book I actually copied so I've been to, if you didn't know, I've been to Bucovina and I'm obsessed with it. Now I did go on a very stressful tour of it with a company I would never suggest it. It was a press trip, so it was a weird experience, but the actual place is amazing. The monasteries are amazing, and I've been to Ukraine, but I've not been to Bucovina in Ukraine. I've only been to Odessa and Kyiv and Chernobyl, which you can't go to anymore. Anyway, so I thought it was interesting that this is based on Ukrainian designs, but the region is chopped up because of modern day politics. Mm-hmm. The art and the culture is
very, very similar.
Yeah, it's the same peoples. Which is why also Moldova, the country, has Romanian speakers and Russian speakers. And anyway,
okay.
But Ukraine and Moldova are former USSR republics. Romania was not. And so we look at them differently, but if you go back 300, 400 years, they're not that different, right? Yeah. This region was not different depending on there wasn't a border.
Sure.
So anyway, this region is located on the northern slopes of the central eastern Carpathians and adjoining plains, divided between Romania and Ukraine. This book was originally collected and drawn by Eric Colbert in 1902 through 1912, reproduced in 1974 by the Eastern Executive of Ukrainian Women's Association of Canada. So the book is because it is a early 20th century book that was redone in Canada in the 1970s. And because it was Canada, it is then done in Ukrainian, but also English, but also French because it's Canadian. So it's very accessible to a wider range of people.
Okay.
Published in Ontario in 1974. It comes with a booklet and 74 plates, 2 extra patterns, and it's really pretty. Now, I'm going to show you the cover.
I mean plates.
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
I've been to ethnographic museums and in this region and seen like some of this stuff like up close. It is so gorgeous.
Yeah,
there's a town where they painted all the houses and like some of these motifs.
Really?
Yeah, it's really cool. In Romania. I haven't been to the part of it that's Ukraine, but I will show some pictures of like the house and stuff.
That's cool, yeah.
And I've been to an egg painting museum there where they do the
you told me.
yeah, I love this. I love this part of the world.
Yeah.
So
apparently I love Americans here.
Well, Canadians.
And Canadians.
So this book has its Cyrillic. The Cyrillic is because of Ukrainian. Romanians don't use Cyrillic. That's part of why I was like, wait a minute, I thought Bucovina was Romanian, and then I like got into it more, and I was like, oh yeah, it crosses the border. So the cover says Specimen embroideries of the peasant home industry in the Bucovina. Motifs of la broderie, Peasant, and Bucovina, because it's Canadian. Okay. So another thing I thought was interesting, obviously, Ukraine is under conflict, Slava Ukrainia. And last year, a book that was on this list that is not on this list this year was a Palestinian embroidery Tetris book.
Oh, I remember that.
And it's not on this year because both of these are like older books. But I wonder if that has caused the conflicts. Although that book went for sale, the Palestinian book went for sale before the conflict started because it was 2023, and the conflict started in
October 2024.
No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm getting the times wrong. Yeah, because Ukraine started in 2022, but so anyway, I just thought it was interesting that we've got these two like ethnographic books that are like historical books like becoming very valuable when their regions are under conflict. And what does that say about how we value the people of the region versus the products of the region? I just thought that was interesting. Like,
yeah.
So are we spending $400 on helping Ukraine or helping Palestine versus buying something where the money...
Well, but we want to preserve the culture.
Yeah, but like,
as much as we can.
So one of the things about like the Tetris movement is like when DMC or when like non-Palestinians try to make money off of Tetris, it's like not cool.
Yeah.
Like you want to, so this book is made by Ukrainians. It's just interesting to me, like, is there an effort to preserve the culture from that region? Although it's not one of the regions that's more under, it's like, it's probably one of the safer regions to be in, my guess is, because of where it is located on the map. Because it is, doesn't border, it borders Romania and it doesn't border. Anyway, it's just interesting, food for thought. I don't know if there's like a real thing, but $306.
Oh my God.
There's one for sale on eBay right now that's $399.
Is it being...
No.
You'd never be able to tell.
The money is not going to.
No, I wanted to know, is it being sold from Canada still?
Oh, I don't know. The one on eBay is just like,
Yeah, then I thought, you would never
But
know.
also the person who has it on eBay might have found it at a thrift store, saw that it was worth a lot of money, and then saved it because it was worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
And maybe if they hadn't have seen that it was worth money before, would have lost it. So it was only saved because it was value. That's kind of how some of this stuff works.
It's very complicated. Because you do want...
But I just thought that was interesting.
Something. That's very cool. Okay.
But yeah, $399 if you want to go get it now, but $306 last year. And that concludes my trip down memory lane. Number 2, Good Huswife Volume 3. So there were 4 volumes. There might have been more, but we saw at least 4.
You're killing me because this was first okay.
2, 3, and 4 are on this list. Number 1 isn't, so I don't know what that says about number 1.
Maybe you cannot find it at all.
This is the Colonial Gardening series. I think you probably like the other 2 covers better.
Probably, but I'm not going to turn that one away. That one's really pretty too. It's a very different style than the other 2, but still.
Okay. Here's where we take a jump.
We just jumped.
We were at 306, Yeah, we jumped from 214 to 306. Now we're going to jump from 306 because it's $3.99 if you want to buy that book now, but the sale from last year was 306.
Oh.
So 214 to 306, and now we're going to 406.
Well, if you own these books, congratulations.
They look stunning, but I wonder, like, were 20 of them made or something? Because that's like a very hard. That looks hand.
Yeah.
All right.
That's no expensive publisher for sure.
Number 1. Do you have a guess? This is
literally no idea.
This is really just a memory test because if you
okay.
You have a guess though. Number 1.
Was it the Beatrix Potter stuff?
No. But it was number 1 last year.
Is it a French artist?
Yes.
Oh.
But it's not the French one that you're thinking of. It's the one that everybody stitches all the time.
No, I don't know.
Okay. It's by Julia Line, who is the designer of Long Dark Samplers. Oh. The Long Dark Sampler book that is technically called L'Arbre de Noël, which I think is...
No idea.
Noah's Ark, I think. So this book was number 1 last year, published in 2011 in French, contains 10 samplers that were not and will never be published outside of this book anywhere else. Don't ask her. She's really sick of hearing about it. And she had some choice words that she put on Facebook that I did in our video last year, so I didn't.
We don't need
Oh, actually, I do have them.
No. I've had this again. Basically, she's out. This is
so somebody asked her, like, and she said, I've had several inquiries recently about my, no, this is from a blog post. This is not her Facebook. This is her official blog post. Oh no, this was Facebook. I've had several inquiries recently about my book, L'Arbre de Noël, and I'm sorry to tell you that as my publishers have decided not to print any more copies of the French edition, it seems very unlikely that an English version will ever be available. Damn and blast all around with big brass knobs on. So don't ask her because she's sick of it. She doesn't need you. But so basically, it seems like what I can gather happened was that it was published in French. A lot of people who loved her work did not buy the French version because they thought an English version was going to come out. But then the English version did not come out. So the only copies are in French. Now, it was number 1 this year. It was number 1 last year. Last year, it was $619.
Okay.
And this year, so I think it's Ozark because I think that is the name of that sampler.
Well, it's definitely a boat, but I don't know about Noah.
What I will say, and I will tag them because last year it was a thing. But anyway, the Hathaway Stitchers, Erin is stitching from this book, and I think maybe Amity owns it.
I think it's Amity's book that her husband gave her.
Yeah, but didn't pay these prices for it.
She was like, I didn't, I swear.
But it was very funny, and she tagged us in that, so I don't feel bad tagging her.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you like a long neck sampler, you should be watching the Hathaway Stitchers.
Yeah, go watch them anyway.
And they publish really long videos, but they don't publish
often
like us. So like, you can get caught up in a weekend. Well, probably 2 weeks. But anyway, $435. So
it went down?
It went down almost $200.
Wow.
Now, it's probably not the same person.
Yeah.
But if you bought it for $600.
But at the time, that was the only option.
Yeah. So I hope, but people who buy this book want to stitch out of it. They want to stitch multiple things out of it, and they're not planning on getting rid of it, which is why it's so expensive. But it's a designer where you can go buy off of her website digital copies of everything else she has. Yeah. But then these 10 samplers are out of print. Are these 10 samplers the best 10 samplers she ever made? Or is it that you can't get these 10 samplers?
The FOMO is real.
The FOMO is real. And you see like somebody stitching one of them and you're like, oh, I get it. But then you're like,
how much?
Yeah. But just some individual cross stitch patterns go for that. And this is for 10.
That's true.
But are you going to stitch all 10? I mean, are you not buying anything else? It's just all.
What, all year?
Yeah. So no judgment if you bought the book, and I really hope I find it in a thrift store one day.
Yeah, you might.
I'll probably sell it.
Understood.
I don't like long dog samplers enough to keep it, whereas there's some other things that I found from this list I would keep.
When we were organizing my fabric, somebody commented on the video, I should do long dog on that giant piece of gray and just make it long dogs samplers, which would be
hilarious,
fun, and just take you like 30 years.
Because you would never get to stop and frame it because you would just be 3 years
constantly.
Really years.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think we should cut some of it up and dye it different colors.
I'd be willing to do that
because I think the gray base would be interesting. Anyway,
yeah.
On the fabric organization video. All right, so what did we learn today, children? We learned that No, just that like books are harder. I think you gotta. Oh, we're not done. I wanted to do some tips for buying these books at better prices. Okay, so they're not every book. There's some books that no, but for some of these books, if you do a basic Google search, if you look for the book on eBay, you see one price. But if you do a basic Google search, you'll see that it might be available at a different price somewhere else because there's a lot of places that sell used books. Unlike patterns, there's a lot of places that go for used books. So there's thrift books, A-books. I just heard of a new one yesterday called Pango Books. And then there's...
Does Half Price still do online?
I don't know. But there's just a lot of places. So instead of going to eBay, Google it or look it up in a search browser. If you're not using Google anymore, go to whatever browser you're using and look it up. Because you might find that it's less expensive or there happens to be a copy somewhere else. Set up your alerts too. And like Thrift Books is always emailing me like the books that I'm interested in are available. I'm no longer interested in them, but I haven't told them that. But anyway, so if you're like, if it comes in a lower price, because on eBay, and then also on eBay auctions, sometimes you can get stuff lower. Sometimes it goes more, but sometimes it goes less. So, but I just found a lot more often searching for the book gave me a very wide range of some prices on some of these, whereas going straight to eBay or Amazon, it gave me only the highest prices. So it may just be that some of the sellers who are like the most professional and know what they're doing are selling on eBay, but maybe somebody who's like,
didn't know what they had.
Yeah, is just throwing books up on Pango Books because they want to make like $20.
Yeah.
So, and then also check your libraries and check your local used bookstores because things that have IBSN numbers are very easy for booksellers to figure out their value because they can log into the whole like network of information. But a lot of cross-stitch books do not have IBSN numbers. And so they might still sell it, but they might not know what they have. And if they don't know how to look it up, if it's just a person entering it, they might not look it up. But then also, flip side, last year there was a book that was listed at $2,500 on, and I bought it, and I was going to do a video about it, and then I never did. I should still do it. I bought it for $13 on Amazon, including shipping. So you just don't trust the prices of, just look around. With books, more than patterns, look around because there are more people who are booksellers than are willing to take on patterns. That would be my tip.
Makes sense. Yeah.
What was your favorite from this?
Either one of the first Good house.
The first two Good house. Yeah. Goode Huswife.
Is it Goode Huswife? Okay. Well, those were my favorite because, I mean, if all time patterns are the same quality and style, yeah, those were great.
I would love just to read that Bucovina book, and I would love to read the Spencer Museum of Art, the one that's
I would love to read that.
But I don't know if I'd stitch out of it. But I would like to just, like I have a Lapland book that was like done by DMC that's up in my D-stash. And the reason it's my D-stash is because I bought it from an antique store, read it, enjoyed it, but decided I'm not going to stitch it. But I still got to read and experience it. And because it's a book that feels like, you know, so I would love to find a $400 cross-stitch book, read it for a couple weeks, and turn around and sell it.
Yeah.
But not pay the $400 in the first place.
No.
But
I mean, if that's what they're worth, that's what.
But yeah, it's a function of time. If you need something right away, it'll cost you more money. And if you don't have a lot of time to look around, it will cost you more money. So depending on how much money you make per hour or what the rest of your stuff is going on, it makes more sense just for some people just to pull the trigger and for some people to... Like, I'm going to thrift stores all the time. Some of these patterns that I want, I'm like, well, maybe I'll just find it at a thrift store. Books are harder for people to lend. Like, if I had a book, I would lend it to you. But it'd be harder to, like, lend it to someone else because it's, like...
You have to ship it.
So it may not be something that is, like, And then also because I feel like books don't leave people collections as quickly. Yeah. Like I like even me, it's like I didn't even try to destash books, even when I was destashing patterns, until you guys were like, well, just put media mail, and I was like, okay, fine. And that was great because then a lot of books went to places where they'll be much more loved than just on a bookshelf in my office.
Yeah. And you've already read them.
and I kept the books that I will stitch out of. Yeah. So, but like current books took libraries. Like, we love Creepy Cross Stitch and what's it called? Tuscan Cardinal, Lindsay Square and Jen's books. Yeah. But they're available at our library. We have a copy of one of them. The other one you rented from the library.
I rented the other one from the library, yeah.
So
and it was fun. And I want to do another one from that book too.
I have a schedule to do two if I get to them this year.
I would love it.
All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we're going to record Thursday's tutorial, which is not going to be a tutorial. It's going to be an extra, because we're going to start organizing our master sets.
You found the perfect box
carrier and everything. I know. That's why I'm like, I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
All right, so subscribe. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, and you get to watch us start that goal for the year, because we're going to do an Organize With Us video.
I predicted 4 hours to do this.
Well, we're going to do one timed hour.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Not doing it all at once.
No.
But just, my head was like prepared to do this like 4 times. Apparently. It's
No.
take a lot longer.
I think it will take us all year if we do an hour a week.
Oh, okay.
But we won't record them all, but we're going to record some of them.
Okay.
All right. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you made it to this point in the video, leave a book emoji, because that one's easy, and that'll be our secret language that you made it to the end. Let us know what your favorite book from the list was. If you have a unicorn cross stitch book.
Do you have one of these? And you love it? It's totally awesome.
Yeah. So let us know. All right. Thanks. Bye.